Hey guys, it's JJ. Welcome back to the Eagles franchise. It's finally draft time. And in this offseason, we have managed to put a team together that could play this season, but we're looking to add some more talent. We got the 20 overall pick, 52, 84. We got an extra 4 from Cleveland and an extra 7 from Miami. So overall, we've got 9 draft selections for now, but yeah, I might be trading up and down a little depending on how the draft board is going to fall. Now, we have added a few players in the offseason already. In the free agency, we re-signed a couple players. But the main thing was we let Jalen Hurts walk out of here. So Christian Landry is going to be our new starting quarterback. And we're going to try to build an offense around him that he can have a successful season with. And our running back situation, I also let Miles Sanders walk. I didn't want to give him a 4-year deal. So Kenneth Gainwell is now the starting running back. Devontae Smith, Mitch Slaughter, and Doug Washington are the top 3 wideouts. But I think there's always room for a 4th guy, especially since all of the other receivers are backup types of players that are undrafted free agent receivers kind of. And for the offensive line, we lost Jason Kelsey a year ago, and now Brandon Brooks and Lane Johnson. And so we have to rebuild that offensive line. At tight end, we have still Dallas Goedert. I brought back Thaddeus Moss and brought in Hunter Bryant. So we got a couple tight ends there we can rely on that we already have relied on in the past. But we're going to see 2 new starters along this offensive line. Travis Maynard is one of them. And then maybe Landon Dickerson, or maybe I'm going to be able to bring in another guard there at right guard, because Landon Dickerson, let's be real, he did not cut it last season. So I might be looking to move on from him. But the rest of the offensive line looks pretty much solid. It's not a great group now, but it might be a couple years down the road. We brought in Von Miller. So I think we have a good edge rush duo with him and Jonathan Rivera. We also have Josh Sweat. So that's a trio of pass rushers. And then Fletcher Cox, of course, and Milton Williams, who almost got Defensive Player of the Year. So I think our defensive line looks solid for now, but Von Miller and Fletcher Cox might be retiring any year now. And we got to get some replacements in here. And Milton Williams still is only a 73 overall. So, Clay Riley, a 5th, 6th round pick from a couple years back, has not worked out. And, I want to draft a defensive tackle at all costs. Dante Jackson is the top corner after we lost Darius Slay to free agency. Didn't want to sign the 1-year deal, and I didn't want to give him a $23 million franchise tag. So Chris Madden and him are going to be the outside corners, and then Avonte Maddox is going to be the slot guy. And then we also drafted Jalen Gilmore a year back. And those are probably our top 4 corners. Kevin Bonds is going to have a chance in preseason to fight for his roster spot, but I might be drafting a cornerback as well in this draft. For the 2nd and 3rd level, we have Grant Delpit. I gave him a massive deal, was not re-signed, and I think we have a fine strong safety there. And in the linebacker room, it's Levante David and Mike Middleton for now, but want to bring in a linebacker as well. Defensive tackle and linebacker are the 2 positions I want to invest in the most this draft. We also have Tyler Stokes, who is a fine 4-3 base linebacker as a strong side linebacker, mind you. And then we have Taylor Anderson, a free safety, and James Wiggins, a capable backup safety that I am more than happy to get out there if someone of the other 2 safeties is getting hurt. Let's look at the draft class. We have a strong QB draft class. Kyle Steinbach, Eric Randolph, Lucas Jennings, Max Blackman, Stevie Hayes, Tevin McBath, and Max Gordon. 7 first-round quarterbacks, and the league is hungry. So I expect these 7 quarterbacks to go as well. Luke Chambers is a receiver that is a little bit underrated right now. He has fine speed, he has B spin move, B juke move, B ball carrier vision, B carrying. I think he would be a fine running back. Same goes for Christian Ratliff. Round 1 to 2, talent, 4.4 legit speed, and some skills that would make for a great running back here. B spin move, B carrying, A ball carrier vision, and yeah, C break tackle, D stiff arm. Not that great, but he looks like a first round caliber player. Same goes for Matt Upshaw, 5'9", 190. He already is 23 years old, and he doesn't look great as a receiver right now, but 4.35 speed, that is legit. And elite acceleration as well. B spin move, B ball carrier vision, break tackle, carrying. He's my favorite receiver to draft right now and turn into a running back because we lost Miles Sanders. Justin Douglas is another receiver I really liked. He's 21 years old, 6'5", 4.43 speed. He looks like a monster, and also 21 bench reps, so he's probably going to be even a good blocker. And yeah, his ratings look kind of averagey, but A release, A break tackle, B stiff arm, B spec catch, there is something there. And then Trevor Chambers is a tight end that I liked. He has great speed and great strength on the left side there. You can see that. And it tells me that he might be a good blocker and a good receiver. And he has B run block power and B deep route running, C short route running. I don't know. Nolan Graham, same deal here. Day 3 projected. He has great speed, great strength, and the skills don't really reflect it. Not sure. But yeah, I want to get another tight end here. Then Landon Warner. He looks like a solid starting tackle. He has great athleticism. Only solid strength, so maybe that's a little bit on the lower side, but still is probably in the high 80s. And he has B's in the run block and lead block and pass block power, so there's something there to work with. For O-lineman prospects, I have a favorite, and it is Chris Haas with a great combine, a sub 5 40-yard dash, and some, A pass block power, B run block finesse, A run block power. He looks like a stud to me. And same goes for Cameron Feeney, 22 years old. Also had a solid, good combine, I'd say, all around. And yeah, he has D injury, which kind of knocks him down a little bit for me, but still A pass block power. Don't know anything about the run blocking. But yeah, let's switch to the defensive side of the ball. Pass rusher, Dalvin Mickle, and he has great athleticism, great excel, elite speed, 4.56 40-yard dash for an edge rusher. And yeah, he has B finesse moves, which is the only thing I care about for a pass rusher here, the power and finesse moves. But let's move on. There is 6 defensive tackle prospects that could go in the first round, and David Manning is the highest projected guy right now. Great speed, great strength, 21 years old, and C block shedding is the only knock on him, but A power moves, B finesse moves, 21 years old. Yeah, he looks like a monster. He's a favorite of mine. Terrell Payne is 23, the oldest of these 6 defensive tackles, but he has great speed, great strength, and elite acceleration, so he might be the best athlete if you want to go for that. But then again, he only has C power moves and B finesse moves, and he's already 23 years old, so maybe it's not really him, but I guess I know injury, it's a B, so that's fine. Armon Rivers. He has good excel, elite speed, and great strength, so he looks like a monstrous athlete. Not as good as Terrell Payne, but you know that he's going to be a great run defender with that A block shedding. He also has B finesse moves, but only C power moves, and I don't know the injury rating. Chris Ford is 22. He has elite speed, only solid acceleration. That does not make for a great pass rusher, but he still has great strength. And apparently he looks like a monster here. A, finesse moves, B, block shedding, B, power moves, but don't know the injury. Again, Marcus Chancellor, 22 years old. He is one of the better athletes out of these 6. He has elite speed, and you can see it, 4.78 40. He has B's across the board basically, and a C injury. So you know he's not an injury problem. And then the 6th guy, Alonzo McFadden, 21 years old. Great strength and elite speed, good acceleration, is not the best athlete out of these 6, but also not the worst. And you already know he's a great pass rusher. B, finesse moves, B, power moves. And he's only 21 years old, but don't know block shedding and don't know the injury rating. And then if you somehow miss out on all 6 of those prospects, you still can go and get a Dudley Brinkley with also great speed, good excel, good strength. 4.92 40-yard dash is fine for a defensive tackle here. And A, finesse moves, already know that he's going to be a pass rusher. And not horrible in run defense either for a 3rd round pick. Javier Davis, pass rusher. And he looks like a monster to me. Elite excel, great speed, and good strength. And then you know that he has a B, finesse moves, and B, power moves. And, well, that makes a 1st round pick for me, but he's an edge rusher, and I kind of look for a defensive tackle or a linebacker right now in the 1st round. Alex Jennings, another guy I really love. 4.59 40, great excel, great speed, and also good bench press here, 28 reps. And yeah, don't know finesse or power moves, but he looks like a stud. Deacon Chancellor, the only 1st round caliber middle linebacker with good excel, good speed, and great strength. He might have the best bench press of all of these middle linebackers, and he does not look awful. He has A play rec, he has a lot of B's and C's. He doesn't look exciting either, but he doesn't have D's and F's in his rating, so yeah. 2nd to 3rd round projected is Chris Reed, who has better speed even, and also is marked as having great strength. So yeah, he is an interesting prospect as well. He has A, zone coverage, and we don't know the man coverage, but it might be pretty good as well. And then A, hit power. Rob Webster is the 3rd middle linebacker prospect in the top rounds that I might be comfortable with, and he looks to be the best athlete of all of those because he has a 4.5 flat 40-yard dash and A, zone coverage, A, man coverage as well. So he's going to be a great cover linebacker. And then Coco Washington is a UDFA projected, but he also has a 4.5 flat 40-yard dash, great speed and great excel. So maybe if you miss out on Deacon Chancellor and Chris Reed and Rob Webster, maybe he's the guy, but he has some C's and D's in there. So yeah, just overall the best prospect in my opinion is Nolan Wilson. Great excel, elite speed, 4.32. This is legit 4.3 speed, and also has great strength. Despite being 6 foot and 184, he has A, zone coverage. C press is not that great, but still A, hit power and great awareness as well. And then Will Parker is another great cornerback that is more of a prospect that we might be able to draft because Nolan Wilson is going to be probably a top 5 pick. And yeah, Will Parker, 4.4 speed, A press, C zone coverage, B tackling. I think that tells you everything you need to know. And then A catching as well. So if he falls somehow, might take him as well. We might be needing another corner. And then Chris Matlock. If you somehow miss out on all the linebackers, I think you maybe can turn him into a linebacker. 4.4 speed, but still 6'2", 220 or something. And C pursuit, C tackling, not that horrible. but the block shedding is not great. We are going to move on to the draft. And I am so excited to do these drafts. It's so much fun putting these drafts together. And the Raiders have the #1 overall pick. They still have Derek Carr, but he's in his 30s. He has not been playing great. And with the first overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select Kyle Steinbach, quarterback, Mizzou. And yeah, they are going to move on. He looks like a solid quarterback prospect. All of those seven first-round quarterback prospects look like first-round picks to me. All of them can be franchise QBs. So yeah, the Colts still have Carson Wentz, and he has not been working out at all. So with the second overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Eric Randolph, quarterback, Texas. So there's a couple QBs off the board, and that's already something I'm looking for, because I want those QBs to be gone as soon as possible. Because if somehow Nolan Wilson falls down the board, if he falls to 10, I'm picking him up. Like, there is no thinking about it. I am willing to sacrifice a future first for that even. And then with the third overall pick, the Jets, who already have Zach Wilson and Jason McElroy, they go and get another franchise tackle to solidify their offensive line, Arnold Gregory. And so top prospects are going off the board. He looks solid as well. He looked as solid as Sean Keaton when we selected him. And then the Seattle Seahawks still have Russell Wilson, did not retire, but I think this makes sense. You get the heir apparent. You have a #4 overall pick. Lucas Jennings was my favorite quarterback. If I had to take any of those quarterbacks with the knowledge I possessed over them, I would have gone Lucas Jennings probably. And so with the 5th overall pick, Amari Ferguson. Him and Nolan Wilson, in my opinion, should be the two best prospects coming out of this draft, the highest rated ones. And the Steelers do not go quarterback here, even though they need one badly. And so the Falcons have a chance to go and select Nolan Wilson, the cornerback I was so excited about, but I knew there was no chance to get him. This would have probably taken 3 first-round picks or something like that to go and get Wilson. So yeah, he's gone. And then the Browns, they go and get Anthony Tauscher, wide receiver, Ole Miss. He looks like a solid route runner, a good receiver all around. I think he might not be as good as Amari Ferguson, but still a solid top 10 receiver to get here. And then the Green Bay Packers go and get a quarterback, David Blackman, because Jordan Love has not worked out for them. And so I think it makes sense that after a couple of years of Jordan Love, you go and get yourself a new quarterback. The Cardinals did it with Kyler Murray. And so I think this makes sense here, David Blackman to the Packers. And my strategy here was to let the draft get to us. And so I waited just patiently till our pick. And because Nolan Wilson was gone already. And then this pick doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Max Gordon, the Giants selected a franchise quarterback last year, Joe Frazier, who won Rookie of the Year. And so I can already tell you I moved Max Gordon around with a couple other players so that he has a landing spot where he is actually going to play. And one thing I did, I switched this around a little bit. Alexander Cohen is going to be a New York Giant. So this is the real pick the Giants made. I switched them around because that doesn't make any sense. And because the Lions also already have their franchise QB in Bobby Harrington, I switched those two around. So Max Gordon is going to be a Panther now, because this draft logic is broke, and Earl Ellington, yeah, he's going to play in Detroit. This is the way I was gonna do this when the draft happened, and I did that. So yeah, Ellington is going to be a Lion, Max Gordon, the quarterback, is going to be a Panther, and Cohen is going to be a cornerback that we're going to see twice a year, while the Cardinals finally are going for their defense. Jake Newell is an edge rusher out of LSU. I think when I looked at him, I was not all that overwhelmed. He looked kind of underwhelming, but we'll see what he turns out to be. And then the Washington football team is going to get another edge rusher because apparently they don't even have enough. So yeah, doesn't make any sense either, but I think it's not that horrible so as to having to change around players here in this spot. But yeah. And then at 14, the Texans go and get a guard. I think that was a fine pick. I don't think Glenn Spellman was anything special, but I think you can never go wrong with offensive line in the first round, I'd say. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 15. They are quarterbacked by Kirk Cousins and Jimmy Garoppolo. So do they go with quarterback? No, they don't. They get an edge rusher as well. Steve Hartwell out of Oregon. Not really all that excited about him. So, but yeah, I was just patiently waiting for my spot at 20 and seeing what was on the board and whom to pick, while the Bengals go and get a quarterback. That does not make any sense, and I can tell you that I moved him as well and changed him around to a team that does not have a franchise quarterback and that it made sense for to pick a franchise QB in the first round. And I can tell you it is not the Denver Broncos, because they have Patrick Ferguson from the first draft class and they go get a tackle, which makes perfect sense. He is going to be a franchise tackle for them. And I can already tell you it's not going to be the Chargers either, because they have Herbert. So they get an edge rusher, which was kind of surprising, and especially since I was not a Tune believer. He didn't look like anything special. But I guess we'll see. Maybe I'm underrating all these edge rushers in the first round a little. And the Rams. They are going to select the quarterback that just went, because I changed him and Jack Taft around. Taft was already falling down the board and he looked like the best edge rusher in this draft class to me, actually. So I switched them around. Jack Taft is going to be a Bengal and Stevie Hayes is going to be a Ram, even though they still have Stafford. And then at 20, our pick came up and I was really not sure what to do, and so I decided I would trade down a little, and there was a great offer by the Bears, getting this year's 3 and next year's 6 in order to fall down the board for 3 spots. And yeah, I was doing that because 6 defensive tackles that might be first round picks, and then also a linebacker that was ranked 36 in projection. So I thought to myself, you can wait a little bit on that. And so I fell down the board a little bit, and they pick up Chris Sheldon, a receiver I was not all that excited about. But the Bears, yeah, they need a receiver. So with the next pick, Ed Barnett, another edge rusher that I was pretty excited about. Jack Taft, Ed Barnett, and Javier Davis, in my opinion, were the 3 top picks for edge rusher. And then the Titans go and get the 7th quarterback, and it makes sense. He's going to be their QB of the future. And we were on the clock again, and yeah, nothing happened. I still thought to myself, okay, none of the defensive tackles are gone. Why not trade down again? There are 6 of them. And my personal favorite of these 6 defensive tackles was the lowest projected, actually. Alonzo McFadden was my favorite. Marcus Chancellor also was a favorite of mine. And then Terrell Payne because of the athleticism. But also David Manning. And I guess all 6 of them are fine. I think you could not have missed out on a defensive tackle if you just waited and took the last one. And so David Manning goes at 24 to the 49ers. He is a solid option and I think you could not have done anything wrong with him. But I already had traded down twice and picked up 2 extra third-round picks. And now at 25, we're on the clock, and Javier Davis, who seriously might be the best edge rusher in this draft class. He looked like so good. Goes to the Jaguars. And so, yeah, the Vikings offered a nice deal, falling down 3 spots. And I thought to myself, well, there is still 5 of those 6 defensive tackles left and the linebacker. And so I traded down again because teams wanted to trade up. And yeah, so the Vikings trade up, and now we have to wait for 3 picks more until we are at the clock at 28. Javier Davis is gone, and they take a running back. So there are still a couple players on the board that I didn't expect there, and one of them was Will Parker, the cornerback, because he was falling. He was projected to go like at 20 or 22 or something. Still was on the board. And now the Dolphins, who are they going to select? They take Terrell Payne, the defensive tackle. He was exciting because he was the best athlete, but he was already 23 years old. So I'm okay letting that one go. And then the Bills. Do they take Will Parker, the solid corner with A zone coverage? No, actually A press and C zone coverage. But no, they go with an edge rusher. And so I'm on the clock at 28, and Will Parker is still there. 6'2", 191, 22, legit 4.4 speed, and elite jumping, and A press. But when you see A press, A catching, that's already like a combination that you really want to take. But then there is also Deacon Chancellor, 6'1", 245, but he's 23 years old, so he's kind of older. And yeah, 4'6", 40. That is good. But yeah, my reasoning here was I'm not going to take a defensive tackle here because I can get one in the second round, I think. And just trade up with 1 or 2 of those 3s we just got. And so I decided that I am going to take Deacon Chancellor. This is the only first-round linebacker. He is the top pick here. He has at least a pursuit, so he knows he's getting to the ball carrier. He always looks for the massive hit. He often looks to rip away the ball, and we take him, and he has only normal dev. And the reasoning here was a lot of it relied on getting a hidden dev linebacker. There's only one first-round linebacker, and I thought the chances were pretty good. His athleticism looks fine, but at the time, I was not amused about this pick. No hidden dev. 87 speed was a little bit less than I wanted. And yeah, Armand Rivers, one more defensive tackle goes. Is there a run on defensive tackles now? There are still 3 left after Armand Rivers. And now Will Parker is gone. He goes to Kansas City. He's going to be a really good cornerback. I loved his rating. I would have loved to have drafted him, but we had such a gaping hole at linebacker, and I wanted to throw as many dart throws at the position as we had to. And then at 31, the losing Super Bowl team, the Ravens, select the best tight end. He looked solid, but we have Dallas Goedert, so no reason to take him. And then the Cowboys, the Super Bowl champions, are going to select Orleans Pearson, a really solid guard. I think you can't do anything wrong with that, but yeah, I would have drafted him if we hadn't had Landon Dickerson, and if I already knew that there was a couple centers in the 3rd round that might be a better option. And then pick 33, Cameron DeBose. The Raiders are going to take a running back to their quarterback, so that's a fun pick. And then another defensive tackle goes to the Colts. So there is only 2 defensive tackles left. And now I was getting impatient. I knew I had to trade up from pick 20 in the second round. I knew I had to do that. And by the way, Keelan Redmond here, who goes to the Jets, he was my safety blanket. If I somehow missed out on all 6 defensive tackles, he might be a replacement defensive tackle as well. And then a guard to the Seahawks, solidifying that offensive line. Can't go wrong here, I'd say. He looked solid. And then the Steelers with the best free safety in the draft class. And now I was getting kind of anxious. Are the Falcons gonna take my favorite defensive tackle here? I wasn't sure if I had to trade up here and go get my favorite, or if I just have to wait until one goes and then trade up and get the other one. But they take a running back, and so the Browns are on the clock. And they already went receiver in the first round, so they are coming back here in the second round and go get a cornerback, Taylor Whitfield, another corner that I really like. This cornerback class was so awesome. But then I decided I'm gonna trade up and get my guy, because I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to risk getting a guy that I was not as high on. And yeah, Marcus Chancellor and Alonzo McFadden were on the board. And we are going to submit that trade. And it goes through trade up 12 spots in the second round and giving up a third round pick in the process. And we picked up 3 of them in the first round, so that's fine. Marcus Chancellor, just to go over them again. He's 22 and he has B across the board on the important stuff. He looks like a massive athlete, elite speed, but only good acceleration and good strength. And that is a difference to Alonzo McFadden. Marcus Chancellor has B power and finesse moves and block shedding. And we know his injury is a C, so he's not injury prone. And then Alonzo McFadden, on the contrary, he's 21. So he's younger, first of all. And he has good excel like Chancellor. But he has elite speed like Chancellor and great strength, and Chancellor had only good strength. So he's a little bit better as an athlete. But we don't know the injury and block shedding. And I tend to take the shot when it comes to maybe getting the higher upside guy. And this time I decided I'm gonna gamble a little bit. Alonzo McFadden, I had gambled in the first round with Deacon Chancellor, and I'm gonna gamble again here, and it pays off. Hidden development for Alonzo McFadden. 21 years old, 92 strength, 81 acceleration. He is a really great athlete, and I want to turn him into a massive defensive tackle. He's going to be the heir apparent to Fletcher Cox. And now, since we traded around a little bit, the Giants are going to wind up with 2 cornerbacks now, but it's fine, and I'm going to show you later why. The Lions take a tight end after getting the receiver in the first round, and the Panthers take a running back after getting the quarterback in the first round, so they're just copying the Raiders at this point. And then Nicholas Foster, another great cornerback prospect who goes to the Cardinals here. So there is a couple of corners that I really liked, more than just a couple, and boy, these corners, they looked so great. And I couldn't get any of them because defensive tackle and linebacker were the greater positions of need. And so the Buccaneers wind up with a great center here. I was surprised he fell down that far. But yeah, the Bengals get a running back, and not that they need any, but somehow they do. Alex Jennings, a edge rusher that I really liked, and he goes to the Broncos. So yeah. They get a tackle and an edge rusher, 2 positions of value. And then DeAndre Rowland, a receiver I also really liked out of Ole Miss here. And yeah, he's going to be another weapon for Herbert. Marshall Barber to the Rams. So they get a quarterback and a receiver here. That's kind of a recurring theme, getting your first round quarterbacks, a second year or a second round skill position player. And yeah, Larry Sutherland was a receiver I was not that high on, but he goes to the Patriots. What do the Titans do? They get an edge rusher, Lionel Hargrave, who also looked pretty solid, if I say so. And yeah, and our next pick was almost an entire round away at this point, so I knew I had to trade up. It was just a question of how long do you wait until you trade up and go get the player you want. Guard goes there to the Bears, so yeah. And there goes Marcus Chancellor. And if you didn't see it already, he was falling down the board quite a bit. I did not expect that. And if he had fallen 1 or 2 more spots here, I may have considered trading up for him. But yeah, a few picks later, we're into the 3rd round now. The Raiders selected the cornerback I liked. There's a lot of cornerbacks in this draft class that I liked. And the Colts get Chris Reed, who was a linebacker that if I missed out on Deacon Chancellor, that would have been my guy. I would have gone with that guy. I can tell you that right now. He has great zone coverage and is a great athlete. And yeah, we are into the 3rd round here. And the Seahawks get another O-lineman to protect their quarterbacks. And then I decided I'm going to trade up here with the Steelers at pick 3, 5, or 5 in the 3rd round. Sacrificing a 4th round pick to go up 15 spots. I think that's a fine deal. I looked it up in the draft value chart. And the Steelers accept the steal. And I am going to select, yeah, maybe Chris Haas here, because look at him. Great excel, great speed, good strength, sub 5 40-yard dash, and 36 bench reps. That looks so solid. A pass block power, A run block power, B run block finesse. He looks like an absolute stud. And you can't miss out on players like this. Hidden development. Yet another offensive lineman with hidden dev. And that means now I have drafted in the first 3 drafts of this series. I have drafted 5 new starters along the offensive line with all hidden dev. And I am so excited that I do not have to draft any more offensive linemen ever again in this series. I'm not kidding. And a couple picks later, Rob Webster, the other linebacker, goes to the Browns, so they get a star linebacker in the making. I'd say he was the one with the great A zone and A man coverage. So yeah. And then Luke Chambers goes to the Titans, so they get another weapon for their new quarterback. And I decided to just trade down with this 3rd round pick because, yeah. We're gonna, yeah, all the prospects I wanted to select, I had selected them at this point, like all the prospects that I really wanted to select. And I still had a pick 2 picks later. So I just got rid of that 3rd round pick there and drafted down a little bit, pick up some more value, and then go with a pass rusher because Delvin Mickle is 4.56 40-yard dash is just ridiculous. At his college pro day, he even had 4.49 B finesse moves and C power moves in the 3rd round. Welcome aboard. There is no way I'm missing out on a prospect like him. And hand the pick in, man. Normal dev, 6'1", 262, 22 years old, kind of average, but 86 excel and 86 speed, and still has 82 strength as well. So yeah, I'm excited about this guy. He is a third to fourth edge rusher on this team for now, but he has a chance to develop here into something special. And there is another corner I like, Chad Stevens. We're in the back of the third round now, and we had to wait 3 more picks to get to our next one. And yeah, this pick I wanted to spend on a receiver to turn into a running back, because we had Matt Upshaw, 4.35 40-yard dash. We also have Christian Ratliff. Luke Chambers already gone at this point, but yeah, look at the running back ratings. B spin move, B carrying, B break tackle, B ball carrier vision. The only 2 things that don't look great now are juke and stiff arm, but also A injury for running back, and he's a short route running. He looks like a stud. 94 excel, 95 speed, 93 change of direction, and 90 agility. He looks like a stud running back, and I'm gonna turn him into one, and you're gonna see it later. And then the Chiefs were on the clock, and they took the other guy I was targeting, Christian Ratliff and Matt Upshaw. I think they're both really similar players. I just went with Upshaw because he has the better speed. And yeah, I'm just gonna advance here to the 4th round, and our regular 4th round pick, Nolan Graham. Great speed and great strength. The only thing that doesn't look great about him is his projection and his ratings, kinda. It's kinda averagey. And yeah, but 4th round, do you take a shot at a tight end, or do you take a shot at a strong safety? Chris Matlock, 4.44 speed. I still wasn't really happy with the pick of Deacon Chancellor at the time, but he has D block shedding, which is not that great. So I decided I'm gonna take the shot with massive upside tight end and just hope that he is good catching. And he looks like everything I imagined here in this spot. 86 speed, 87 excel, 85 agility. He is a chain mover, I think, with his size as well. And then just gonna advance to our 5th round pick, because nothing interesting happened in between except Alexander Baker, who got selected by the Rams here. He was another corner I really liked. And then Chris Matlock was still there. Did not go, so I decided gotta take a chance on him here. 4.44 speed, and it shows 90 speed here, 88 acceleration. If these are his measurables at linebacker, he's a really fast linebacker, sideline to sideline range. And then a couple picks later, prospects that I liked started to go, even prospects that were projected undrafted. So I decided no time to mess around anymore. I have so many future 6 and 7 round picks, and you gotta take the players you want to have. Coco Washington was one of them, and there's another dart throw at the linebacker position. If Deacon Chancellor doesn't work out, maybe this guy does. 4.5 flat 40, even in the sub 4.5 range on his pro day. And yeah, his ratings look kinda not that great, but also these are not the most important ratings. We do not know tackling or hit power and zone coverage. So yeah, Coco Washington, 91 excel, 89 speed. He's a pass coverage archetype linebacker, and at this point, 5th round, he is worth it. And then Christian Warner was another prospect that I wanted to draft. He was an undrafted projected player. I really liked him, and he went. And so and Brady Cody, by the way, was one more of them. If I hadn't selected Nolan Graham earlier, I would have gotten Cody here. And so I decided this can't happen again. So gotta trade up here, and I sacrificed the future 5 to go get the 6 this year. There's another player still on my board that I want to get, and I am okay sacrificing a future 5 for him because he's a receiver and I know his true value. And his true value is second or third round. So Justin Douglas, 21 years old, 6'5" with 4.4 flat speed, 21 bench reps. Gotta get him. His ratings are kinda average across the board, but he has B catch in traffic, he has A release, B spec catch, and A break tackle and B stiff arm. So that's an interesting combination. 6'5", no hidden dev, but 92 excel, 92 speed at 6'5". Can't go wrong with that, and I think this is a solid fourth receiver to have on your depth chart. And he has time to develop. He's 21 years old. And then another player, a few picks later, Cortland Livingston, undrafted projected cornerback that I really, really liked. And he went to the Bucks. And so I didn't have anywhere to go with my regular 6th round pick. I wanted to pick him, but he went a few picks before I had the chance to. And so I'm going to get rid of this 6th round pick. And yeah. And there's another undrafted prospect that I really liked, Braden Sherrod, tight end out of Florida. He had the best bench press in the entire combine by all tight ends. He looked like a blocking tight end I really liked. Maybe turn him into a fullback, Josiah DeGuara type. And yeah, 7th round pick around the corner here. And I decided let's throw another dart at edge rusher here. B finesse moves and good speed on his part. Jamal Richardson with B finesse moves. I think he's worth a shot. And I gotta take him. 6'5", 257, 22 years old. Normal dev. Not quite the athlete that Dalvin Mickle was, but 80 excel, 80 speed. That was our 7th round selection. And then we are done with the draft. We got a lot of players, and it has been working out. Deacon Chancellor, 77 overall linebacker. He was one of the top players in the draft, and I think it was worth it. If he develops a little bit, maybe gets lucky with a dev upgrade, he might be a superstar linebacker a couple years down the road. And his coverage, 63, doesn't even look bad. He has 90 tackling, 86 hit power. His block shedding needs a little work, but yeah. And then Alonzo McFadden, 76 overall. So I won with him as well. I paid off to wait and get both of those guys. It really paid off, and he looks so solid. 76 block shedding, 78 power moves, and 71 finesse moves. So his finesse moves were kinda not that great, but I think it's safe to say that this guy is looking like a future superstar defensive tackle. And then Chris Haas, 75 overall right guard at the end. He has solid ratings across the board. His weakest rating here is awareness at 71 and pass block finesse is 72. So that doesn't look horrible at all. And Dalvin Mickle, 3rd round pick, edge rusher, 70 overall. He has 76 finesse moves and 86 excel. This is everything I'm looking for. I don't need any more information. And then Matt Upshaw is a 79 overall running back. And he is the 3rd highest player rated in this draft. And he looks like an absolute stud. He's going to be the new running back of the future. He's going to split snaps in the first season with Kenneth Gainwell, who is going into his 4th season in the league. And then we have Nolan Graham, and that is where I unfortunately missed. But not really. He's a 64 overall, but he has 86 speed, and he has 79 catching? I'm not sure. He's an injury risk though, so he's kind of a bust. Oh, that's 79 catching with the boost. So yeah, 74 catching. So he doesn't look great at all, but... And there is another dart throw that I kind of regret, because Deacon Chancellor looks like he's working out. And his zone coverage is pretty awful, and his block shedding is horrendously bad. So yeah, The better dart throw was Coco Washington, with great tackling and hit power. Good zone coverage, even better than Chancellor's zone coverage, but he looks solid. His play rec doesn't look all that great though. So yeah, maybe something to work on. And then Justin Douglas, already knew that he was going to be a good prospect. Normal dev, but I mean, look at the ratings, man. Solid across the board, 82 juke move even, and 77 trucking, 79 break tackle. There is something to do with a receiver like that. So happy with his selection. And then Jamal Richardson, he was just the kind of dart throw you take in the 7th round. He has 72 finesse moves. That's fine. That is more than I expected even. But the rest of his ratings look pretty horrible. And yeah, let's look at the prospects around the league. Hidden dev, quarterback for the Raiders, 94 throw power, great accuracies across the board, 86 excel and 78 speed. He looks like a fine franchise QB. He's gonna sit for the first year, at least. Eric Randolph, hidden dev, quarterback for the Colts as well, 91 throw power, and I think he has the best accuracies of all quarterbacks in this draft class, even 81 break sack. Looks like a stud. Arnold Gregory, hidden dev, left tackle or right tackle in this case, but he looks fine. No, not a thing that's wrong with him. Lucas Jennings, kinda lower rated than I thought. His medium accuracy is kinda not that great, but he's going to sit a year or two behind Russell Wilson until he retires. So in the end, is it really that bad? Getting a quarterback with 82 speed, 91 excel, 94 throw power. He's a great athlete. The number 5 overall pick, Amari Ferguson, and he really is the top 3 player in this draft class. And yeah, you can see why, right? Nolan Wilson is an 80 overall cornerback, the second best player in this entire draft class. And he looks like it too. 95 speed, 83 zone coverage, 79 man coverage. What a monster. Anthony Tauscher, 6'1", 203. He is the best route runner in this draft class. He's going to be a great receiver for a long time. He is going to be a great receiver. 74 release, not that great though. And then the Packers, 73 overall, David Blackman, 89 throw power. Not all that exciting, but his ratings are looking really solid here with accuracies especially, and his speed is fine. It's not great, but it's not awful either. And then I already told you he's going to be a Panther. Max Gordon, he is going to be a Panthers QB, and he is the best QB in the draft class. Somehow he is the best quarterback in the draft class. 95 throw power, great accuracies, and yeah, this is the guy we're gonna face twice a year. The best player in the entire draft class, 82 overall, and he looks like an absolute stud, even better than Nolan Wilson, and I did not see that coming. He's going to be a giant. And then Earl Ellington is going to be a Lion. And now if you say, yeah, well, that's not fair because they originally drafted the best corner, the best player in the entire draft. Wait a second. He has good speed, and look at his running back ratings. He has 70s and 80s across the board. He's a running back after the catch he turns into DJ Moore. And that's what you want if you have a young quarterback in Bobby Harrington. And then Stevie Hayes, he's going to be a LA Ram. This menu doesn't really show that adequately, but he has 88 speed, 91 excel. He looks solid. Jack Taft is the edge rusher that is turned into a Bengal in this interchange here with the quarterback. And then Tevin McBath, another quarterback that was secretly one of my favorite players in this draft because 92 throw power, great accuracies, 84 speed, 91 excel. Looks solid. He is going to be a Titan. And then look at the defensive tackles. Hidden dev for David Manning, so I think we could not have gone wrong. But Alonzo McFadden is a little better in the run game. Javier Davis is an edge rusher I really loved. He doesn't have the overall I was expecting, but dude, 91 Excel as an edge rusher is pretty deadly. And then the best running back in the draft class, 79 overall. He is, yeah, just as good as Matt Upshaw, but they had to pay a first-round pick. Terrell Payne, the second defensive tackle, 23 years old. Yeah, he's the best athlete out of this group, but he's not the best pass rusher. And if I want to replace Fletcher Cox, he was the wrong player to go. And this one, Armon Rivers, hidden dev, he might be the best defensive tackle that was in this draft class. 81 block shedding, 71 power moves, 73 finesse moves. Looks good. Will Parker, hidden dev corner. I would have loved to draft him. It's beautiful. His ratings are so beautiful. But yeah, Cameron DeBose, 33rd overall pick. He is going to be a great running back sitting on the bench in Las Vegas. So yeah. He looked great, but yeah. Chris Ford, the 4th defensive tackle. Hidden dev for him as well. And I think you could not have gone wrong with him either. But he was 22, and I think his injury rating wasn't that great. And then another corner I really like, Taylor Whitfield. Man, I would have loved to draft a cornerback in this draft class. These corners look ridiculous. Joe Claiborne. This is the second cornerback the Giants took, and another stud. 2nd round pick, 74 overall. Great press. His zone is kind of okay at 69, but whatever. In the 2nd round, getting a starting corner. And then another running back to the Panthers here to support his new quarterback in Max Gordon. And he looks pretty solid behind McCaffrey on the bench. And then Nicholas Foster, another great cornerback. I knew it. I knew all those cornerbacks were great, but I didn't have the need to draft one that high. And then, yeah, the Bengals took a running back, which looks pretty ridiculous too, but he's gonna sit on the bench as well. So, yeah. Alex Jennings, he is the stud of this draft class. He was the best player selected beyond the 1st round. And look at his ratings, and then you can see why. 73 block shedding, 81 finesse moves, 72 power moves, and even great athleticism to go with it. Yeah. DeAndre Rowland is a receiver I really liked. I just couldn't afford to take a receiver in the 2nd round. Great speed, great juke and spin move, ball carrier vision, carrying, change of direction at 90. That is ridiculous. And then the last defensive tackle taken from those 6, and he is the only one that was kind of a bust. So I'm pretty happy I didn't trade up to get him. But yeah, defensive tackles, I think you couldn't have gone wrong with them, even though, yeah, even with Marcus Chancellor, you're getting a more than solid guy. And then look what the Vikings were able to do again. Lance Buchanan, getting a really great middle linebacker prospect in the late 2nd round. Ridiculous. Chris Reed, the other linebacker that I really liked. 89 speed, 88 excel. He has 71 zone coverage to start right off. He has 84 hit power. And then Rob Webster, hidden dev for him as well. 89 speed, 69 zone coverage, 85 hit power. These linebackers look ridiculous. And then Ezekiel Blair, the Panthers select a QB, a running back, and a receiver. That looks pretty great as well. And then, by the way, he has great running back abilities as well after the catch. And then Dudley Brinkley, he was the safety blanket. If you don't get a defensive tackle in the first 2 rounds, he's the one you get later, and he looks good too. Cameron Feeney, he was the other center I considered when I selected Chris Haas, but he wasn't the kind of athlete, and he also is an injury liability. And looking at his overall, he was the worst player. The Rams selected a tight end that was falling because of injury risk. There was a story, and he looks pretty solid too, but he's injury prone. Luke Chambers is one of the receivers I would have wanted to convert to running back. I can tell you he looked pretty good at running back too. I think it was like a 75 overall or something like that. But you can see it. I mean, 85 juke, 81 spin, that's something there. And then Christian Ratliff, he was the other guy. Ratliff or Upshaw, those were my two favorite guys to turn into running backs. And he would have been in 78 overall. And Upshaw is a 79. So you couldn't have gone wrong. Both of those receivers are great running backs. And yeah, the Chiefs already have a good running back. So now not necessary to turn him into a running back. And then Julian Dennard. The Seahawks had an interesting draft class. They get the heir apparent to Russell Wilson. They get a guard, a tackle, and then a first-round caliber receiver in Julian Dennard. And then Brady Cody was a tight end I liked, but he was taken there after I selected Nolan Graham, so I wouldn't have gotten him. And then Cortland Livingston. 90 speed, 71 zone coverage. That's all I need to know, basically. And he even his press doesn't even look horrible. So he would have been a cornerback I would have loved to draft, but yeah. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. We're gonna go through our division rivals draft classes. Orleans Pearson, solid guard. Can't do anything wrong with him. He's going to be a starter for a long time. And then they go and get a bunch of players that don't matter at all. They got DeAndre Lindsey, a nice 4th round pick. And then Christian Warner. I really wanted to get him. But somehow the Cowboys took him before me. And 68 overall for a projected undrafted player. And 90 excel and 78 block shedding. He's a great run stopper. And then even in the 7th round, they go get another receiver. This was kind of underwhelming, but they get a couple players that look really nice. And then for the football team, they had kind of a lot of reaches. Gilmore doesn't look all that great. Mello Flynn is an okay tackle. They get a great running back in the 4th round, but like, dude, who cares? 6'1", 226, that's ridiculous. Hidden dev. He looks solid, but you already got a running back. And 175 overall running back is not gonna get your draft class done. They also did something I wasn't all that excited about because Brett Barnes was a UDFA projected QB that I wanted to select to be a backup because he looked really solid. But yeah, the Washington football team took him before me. And then the Giants, they took Joe Claiborne and Alexander Cohen. They have a ridiculous secondary, a ridiculous cornerback room. 2 hidden dev cornerbacks, and Claiborne looks so good. Like, seriously, he looks stupid good. 93 speed. He has 69 zone, 72 man, 73 press, and they're getting him in the 2nd round, not in the 1st, in the 2nd, after they already got the best player of the draft class here. And after that, the rest of their picks are busts. But they nailed the first 2. That's important. And yeah, a couple more interesting draft classes. The Bengals, they got Jack Taft, who looks really solid. I showed him earlier. They got a 78 overall running back. They get Dudley Brinkley. And in the 4th round, they come back and get another receiver. Jacoby Durant. 6'2", 217, 21 years old. And looks solid. He's kind of a big slot guy. His route runnings down the field are not that great, but he has great catching ratings, 89 jumping. He's a jump ball guy as well. You can use him all over the field, I'd say, and he even has a little bit wiggle after the catch. And then Chad Atkins. If I would have gotten him, I would have not drafted Jamal Richardson, but yeah, Chad Atkins was gone before I had a chance. And then the Colts, Randolph, Chris Ford, Chris Reed. They have 3 more than solid players in the first 3 rounds, and then they go and get a great guard who's going to start in Gerard Minor, 70 overall. And then their last 3 picks are kind of whatever. Even though Tim Woodson, I had him on my list. He was a choice that I could have made in the 7th round. But he was gone. And then the Panthers have an interesting... They got Max Gordon, the quarterback. Then Martin Caldwell, the running back. Ezekiel Blair, the receiver. And the rest of their draft class doesn't even look that bad. Jerry Allen, 68 overall in the 3rd round. Derek Hall, 67 in the 4th round. And even their 5th round running back doesn't look that bad. And yeah, the Rams, they get a quarterback, a receiver here in Marshall Barber out of Stanford. He has normal dev, but he is a great route runner. And 85 catching. If that's all you're looking for, look no further. And then they go and get Alex Steele. They even get a great running back in the 4th round. 70 overall, Evan Gillisley. They get a cornerback, Alexander Baker. That was the only cornerback that I liked that really didn't pan out in this entire draft class. But yeah, those were some phenomenal corners. And then, yeah, trade accepted here. I went to the Jets organization, and I traded away Jason McElroy because he was sitting on the bench for 2 years now, and the Vikings don't have a quarterback. So I think that this is a fair deal. And yeah, we're gonna go through the final Eagles roster here. Christian Landry is going to be the future of the Eagles. 2nd year quarterback, 6'1", 215. With star dev. That's a place to start. 88 throw power. It's kind of on the low end, but Jalen Hurts also had 88 throw power at the end. So yes, 87 short, 84 medium, 84 deep, 88 throw on the run, and 88 break sack. I think he has a few strength, yeah. Our backup is now going to be Howie Flanagan because the Washington football team got Brett Barnes, but he's also out of Stanford. So he's the direct heir apparent at Stanford to Christian Landry. And his medium accuracy doesn't look great or anything, but I think he might be a fine backup for now. And he does have some functional athleticism and 87 throw power as well. And then Alex Martinez is just he's a backup. A practice squad player from last year. And yeah, so we have 2 UDFAs at quarterback and a 3rd round pick. And that is our QB room for now. Maybe we're going to add somebody after preseason cuts. But yeah, for now, yeah. Kenneth Gainwell is going to be the power back, the starting running back. And Matt Upshaw is going to be the receiving back and kind of be mixed in a little bit. But we're going to have Gainwell as the main back here. I think Matt Upshaw does not have the carrying now to be a starting running back in this league. He would fumble a little bit too often right now. But with this speed, I'm expecting some interesting play calls. Matt Breida and Anthony McFarland are just some kind of faster backs I liked to bring in. And then Montra Wakefield is also a practice squad guy from last year. Receivers, Devontae Smith, Mitch Slaughter, Doug Washington. We have our top 3. We had them before the offseason. We bring in Justin Douglas in the 5th round, 6th round even. And Eli McLaughlin is also a receiver from the practice squad last year. He looks like a good slot guy and has good catching and catching traffic. It's a good short route runner. He might be the backup to Doug Washington, but he's gonna have to fight for it as well. And then Ramon Hunter is his main opponent for that 2nd slot receiver position. He is a fast slot receiver as well, 5'10". Bobby Saunders, he's a route runner for the outside mainly. And then 3 more guys that are just gonna have to compete for maybe the 7th receiver spot on this roster. We'll see. And then we have a bunch of tight ends. I'm feeling like the Chicago Bears. Dallas Goedert, Hunter Bryant, Those two are probably our top two guys. And then Thaddeus Moss and Nolan Graham. I think Moss is going to be the fullback type of tight end. And then Nolan Graham is maybe the third tight end. But he is the fastest tight end of all of them that we have. So Nolan Graham may get some snaps because his speed is dangerous. And then Grubbs. He was on the roster last year, but I don't think he's going to make it this year. And then just a UDFA player here in Dakota Barrett and our long snapper. So all in all, I think at the end of the preseason, we may have 4 or 5 tight ends on the roster. Sean Keaton, nothing special here. He's the franchise tackle. DeAndre Lucas, his backup, looks solid. I think there is not a lot to say about the offensive line. We solved it, and we're good to go for a handful of years probably. Cameron Robinson, the best offensive lineman we had last year. I paid Nathan Pickett to come here, and then also paid the other guy at left tackle. What's his name? I already forgot. Those two I gave a free agent deal, and the Seri guy you just saw, he was a UDFA I picked up. Easton Young, the center. Chris Haas is going to be the right guard. Landon Dickers is going to be the backup to all the interior positions. He is kind of a really flexible offensive lineman, but he was kind of a liability last year when he started, and then I moved him out. And yeah. Travis Maynard is going to be the starter at right tackle, and then Ernie Peralta. Don't know if you recognize him. He was on the roster for his first season. Actually he was not on the roster. He was a practice squad player. And then last year I wanted to practice squad him again, and he got picked off by another team. But this year he was on the free agent market again, and I'm bringing him back. Maybe he's going to be on the practice squad for 1 more year. I'm not sure. Von Miller and Delvin Mickle are going to be the 1 and 2 punch from the left edge spot. And then I brought in Jalen Donald and DeAndre Stevenson. What's his name? D'Angelo Stevenson. Both of those guys, I'm not really excited about them, but they have kind of good athleticism, and maybe one of them makes it. Josh Sweat and Jonathan Rivera are going to be the other 2 edge rushers on the blind side. And then Bradley Middlebrooks, who had a great season last year, he's going to be on the roster. And Jamal Richardson, yeah, I'm sorry, he is probably going to be a practice squad player. And then Fletcher Cox came back for yet another season with the Philly Eagles. Alonzo McFadden, Milton Williams, Clay Riley, and Harvey McNeil, those are your top 5 defensive tackles. I think I may have to make a cut for maybe McNeil going to the practice squad or something. Not sure. But yeah, this is all not too exciting. We have a few interesting players here, but I think that McFadden is going to be the base defensive tackle, and Milton Williams is going to be the rush defensive tackle next to Fletcher Cox. Or maybe somebody gets injured and both of them play or something like that. I'm not sure. For linebackers, Javin White, he has been on the roster for 3 years now, and I think his time is over. Because we signed Levante David. Mike Middleton finally showed some promise at the end of his second year. Deacon Chancellor looks like a stud middle linebacker. And Tyler Stokes is the 4-3 base linebacker I really want to see on the field, because he makes plays. He keeps making plays even though his overall says he should be trash. And then Coco Washington. We have 5 linebackers. And Javin White did not produce anything of value the last 3 years. So Javin White, he's getting another chance in preseason. But I'm trying to give all of these linebackers a chance to stay on the roster. And a couple of them are probably gone by the end of preseason. And one of them might be Ruben Haywood. Another linebacker that I overdrafted. And he doesn't even have exciting athleticism or anything. He is Nothing special at all. Doesn't make plays. I'd rather keep Tyler Stokes. Dante Jackson, Chris Madden are going to be our boundary corners. Avonte Maddox is going to be the slot. So yeah, this is a solid group, and that is also the reason why I did not go for a cornerback, even though I had the chance at half a dozen great cornerback prospects in this draft class. And then we have a couple backups that look like they want to get in there as well. Kevin Bonds, third-year player, coming off the practice squad, and Jalen Gilmore, second-year corner, played one game last year, had a pick, looks solid. He might be the slot backup for Avonte Maddox. So yeah, I'm excited about all of those guys. And then we have a couple more that might be fighting for a 6 cornerback spot or something like that. But both of them have great speed and somewhat okay zone coverage, so that's fine. And then for safeties, we have Taylor Anderson at the as free safety. He still has not an NFL pick to this day, and I am waiting on that. I've been waiting a long time, but I am confident that it's going to happen soon. He has 82 zone coverage. Sometime in this season, there's got to be a moment where he can pick it. And then James Wiggins, trust him to be the third safety. Grant Delpit is a strong safety that I'm really excited about it with 90 speed and great zone coverage and also some hitting ability. And then Chris Matlock is the fourth safety. Nothing really to discuss about him. 90 speed, pretty awful zone coverage. And then Landon Stewart is just a guy I picked off the UDFA market. And then our kicker is Jake Elliott. Our punter is Presley Harvin. Nothing interesting about those two guys. And the last thing I wanted to check out is the draft picks, because we picked up a bunch. We have 3 extra 6th round picks and 2 extra 7s, but we're missing a 5th. So yeah, we are going to have to maybe trade up a couple times next year. And yeah, that is going to do it in this episode. I forgot to mention one thing, and that is Lance Buchanan. That was the linebacker that the Vikings drafted, and I did not know a lot about him because he was not ranked at middle line. Like his position was not middle linebacker in the draft. His position was left outside linebacker, and I didn't know anything important about him when he got drafted. And if I had known that his zone coverage is great and that he has the skills to play middle linebacker, then I would have considered him as well, because he looked pretty solid from like athletic standpoints and whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of a miss on my part, but it's also kind of a miss on EA's part because they're unable to just rank linebackers and edge rushers separately. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more Eagles franchise. See you in the next episode. Until then, spread some love.